We have more technology and ways to communicate, and we are getting worse and worse in our communication. And
Hello and welcome back, leaders, to our second part of the communication episode. So last week we were talking about the different communication styles and how you can identify those styles in your team members, in your employees, even in your family members.
Honestly.
We didn't mention that last week, but honestly, with your family as well, you can know what type of communication they like to receive their messages so you communicate effectively.
Yeah.
But right now we want to kind of like talk a little bit more about what is happening. I mean, not just now, but since I think COVID happened,
Yeah.
honestly, and a lot of companies went remote, and still there are a lot of people that are working remotely or at least hybrid. And we have an episode where we talk about this, but this is going to be more focused on communication and how it has affected.
Yeah, I said it in the last episode too, but we have more technology and ways to communicate, and we are getting worse and worse in our communication. And it's causing so many different, misalignments in not just like the company's vision and values, but team dynamics and leader to employee dynamics. And miscommunication is something that's been happening for centuries. I mean, I said this quote by Benjamin Franklin earlier where it's an ounce of preparation is worth a pound of cure, which means essentially that if you are providing with clarity and confirming understanding, and you're like making sure all your I's are dotted and T's are crossed, you will have less problems to fix afterwards. And in today's day and age, I think we do a lot of assuming things, and it's hard to really read people through email, through Zoom calls, through Slack messages, even phone calls. Sometimes it's hard to understand someone's body language or someone's tone. I called my husband yesterday, and he was tired because he just woke up from a nap, but I thought he was mad at me. So,
Yes.
I had to ask those clarifying questions. I was like, are we good?
And that's your husband, somebody that you know very
Right,
well. Imagine somebody
exactly.
that is your team member and you haven't even met personally. You don't know how that person is, and you can now evoke emotions in an email. It is very difficult. That's why we're gonna give you a couple of tips of how to be very clear. Make sure that you're not assuming when somebody answers something, and you're coming across as somebody that cares about their people and it wants the best for them as well. So let's start, for example, with Zoom. Zoom is one that we all now are using. I don't remember using it 7 years ago.
I didn't know what it
think
was
now
7 years ago.
we are very familiar with Zoom. And with Zoom, we have still the body language and the tone has to be on top.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
Because again, it's hard to, for example, taking notes. Something that it happens a lot. You're taking notes, somebody's talking, they don't know if you're on your phone. They don't know if you're just looking at the TV. They don't know if they know. So what you can do as a leader, so you create that environment where everybody's honest and make sure that they feel comfortable in that
And
communication.
engaged.
Just say, hey, guys, just making sure that I'm taking notes. Like just share that with them. And you were taking notes from the notes, taking notes from the meeting. So they just clarify what you're doing. Your tone has to be very, very clear. Like even if you're frustrated, make sure that your voice is the only thing that is showing in the video call. Not even your hands. I do talk a lot with my hands, but not even your hands, because sometimes you just have your computer in your face and that's the only thing that they can see, and the tone.
Yeah. And we don't want you to be like, fake smiling into the Zoom camera.
Don't fake anything.
Don't fake anything. But we still, sometimes you do. It's hard to convey that you're listening to someone when you're on a Zoom call. Like you were saying, your head's down. I've seen people where they're in the camera and they're like this, staring, and that just, as a speaker too, that just gives me, I'm like, wow, you really don't care what I'm saying right now. So try to be as attentive, if not kind of a little bit more attentive when you're on a Zoom call. I think it's different too with the environment that you're in. If you see the same people every single day and they know you very well, maybe you can get away with being a little bit more relaxed. But if you're on a professional call, or a call with like your leader and your leader's leader, you just be very mindful of your body language and how you're appearing on camera, because that is an impression of you and who you are.
And I think like camera and so on, we have heard this before, and some companies have this as a policy. I think that why not? Like when you go to a company, you have to dress up, you have to leave your house, you have to get rid of your pajamas, at least put a t-shirt and, you know, like be presentable for the meeting, because that is going to give you some confidence when you're talking. And maybe your team members are going to say, but why? Like, why do I have to use my camera? Well, those are the traits of working from home as well. And when you feel confident with what you're wearing, you're going to be confident with your words. When you are in a hoodie and you're just in your blankie, I'm not going to give any ideas because I don't want anybody to look at me how I'm looking, right? So that can be one of the reasons why you said, okay, you want the next promotion, you want this role, you want to continue growing within the company, but then you don't want to be on a camera and you don't want to participate in this meeting. So give them reasons why you want them to do certain things that are going to help in the communication. Guys, I want to see your faces so I know that what I'm communicating is landing right with you, because if I see some faces that are confusing, I'm going to explain myself better. If I see you guys smiling, I can move on to the next topic. If I see somebody questioning, I'm going to ask following up questions. So that's why I need to see your beautiful face.
Yeah. And we just connect better when we can see each other.
Just give some reasons.
Yeah.
The next one is email.
Yeah. Email. I'm huge with email because if you send me a novel, I think I've said this before in another episode, if you send me a novel, I'm not going to read it. I need to know like the point of the email, and I need it to be friendly to me. I mean, at least it's very easy to come across as cold and demanding and maybe even inconsiderate sometimes. If you are that person who is just like, I don't care what people think, I'm just going to send like, I need this, period, send. That person that's receiving that is like probably going to feel some type of way about it because it's such a cold email. You would never, hopefully, you would never do that to someone in person. So try not to do that through your email. Try to convey some type of genuine personality, a thank you, a hello. Even if that's the third email you sent that person, just like, hey, or, you know, thank you so much for your time. It's so easy, but it gets missed all the time.
I don't know if I want to say this, I'm going to say it. But use AI. Use ChatGPT to rephrase something. You don't want to come across rude to someone, but you are upset. But you have the opportunity to filter what you're gonna say, and maybe put in ChatGPT, make this kinder, more professional, more caring. I know it might not sound like genuine, but at least you're spending time on translating almost this message so come across better. You know, use that. And we all are using AI for different things. One thing that I heard that I think it's awful is that people is using it for dating, and that breaks my heart. Yeah. Because people literally are dating. Can you imagine? Like, I don't know if I'm dating
getting a ChatGPT
or chat, or who is that I'm dating. That is insane. Maybe not. Don't use it for that. Maybe for grammar. But like emails, just like make sure that you come across being honest and caring. And sometimes we are in a rush.
Yes.
And I understand you. So like, I got that email. You have sense of urgency. I got it. But then think about this team member. They put a lot of effort in this email, planning whatever they were going to say, showing you the project, the task that you send, and then you just say that. Maybe if you don't have the time, because I know leaders, you are busy. I know. We know that you guys are busy. Maybe say, hey, I will check this tomorrow morning. Give them a time frame. Hey, I'm going to, at the end of the day, I will like reply to this. Thank you for sending it. Give me until Thursday. Just give them a time frame so they know that you are going to pay attention to the email.
But also once you set those expectations, make sure that you follow up, maybe set yourself a reminder, because that's going to really burn some, what I call relationship capital. That's really going to burn some trust with your people. If you're like, okay, I'll get back to you on Wednesday, and a week goes by, that Wednesday problem is probably now on fire and they really need your help. So just make sure that you're setting those reminders and holding yourself accountable to helping them out.
Yes, and it goes the other way around. Maybe you need something from a team member. If you send that email on a Friday, 8 p.m., your team member probably is going to answer it. Maybe it's not urgent for you, but for that team member, oh my gosh, my leader did this at 8 p.m. I had to work on that. Imagine the stress, the high levels of cortisol that you are just building up in this team member, instead of like, hey, sorry, it's a late message. I actually need this for Tuesday. I'm doing this because I know I'm going to forget, but don't worry about until Monday. Just set those expectations the other way around as well, because you don't want to create the stress. I need this by tomorrow afternoon. Actually, this is very urgent. Can you deliver this by the end of the day? Just that's communication. You are setting expectations. If you need some help, if you need some guidance, contact this person and you see the other team member that might be able to help because you are not able. Provide those resources, not just say do it and that's it.
Yeah.
Just good luck.
But also to clarify, like, yes, there are some roles that have emergency, urgent things. But one of the things that we were saying earlier when we were prepping for the show is if something is urgent, maybe don't send an email. Maybe you call someone. Like, if it's that important, don't wait for someone to respond to an email. It's going to take forever for them to reply. So make sure that you're, maybe even a text, like something they're going to see it and not take 2 days to reply to it. And it's not going to get lost in an inbox.
Or sometimes you're just emailing back and forth.
We were just doing this.
We were reviewing a script and we were giving feedback to each other. And it was like
in the
20
document.
minutes, in the document, 20 minutes. I'm like, I'm going to call her. And we just talked for 3
this
minutes.
Makes more sense.
And that's it. And we saved so much time and we heard each other's beautiful voice. So just pick up the phone. It's easier to communicate whenever you can call. But I think the last point is the rule 70-30 rule, where you as the communicator and as the leader, you want to establish something called the 70-30 rule. So you are going to talk 30% of the time and you're going to listen 70% of the time.
And again, circumstantial, but for the most part, if you're in a meeting, but it is supposed to be a collaborative meeting, guide the meeting. Don't take complete ownership of the meeting, especially if you're supposed to be working with your team and coming up and being innovative. Make sure that that following that rule is going to be super helpful because you never know what people are going to come up with. So that 70% of your time of listening, you're just absorbing other ideas, you're absorbing other perspectives, and it's going to help your team become a little bit more innovative and creative with whatever the problem is at hand that you're trying to solve or the event you're planning or whatever it looks like. So try not to control the conversation so much. Let them own the conversation. And listening, but listening to learn, not just to respond.
Yes. And that's not just for leaders with their team members, but when you are networking or when you are meeting somebody new as well. You start thinking about, especially in networking, you're going to start thinking about my answers instead of listening that person. And from that, whatever they're saying, I'm going to build up in that conversation. I'm going to continue talking and contribute to the conversation instead of me just coming up with answers and just talking about whatever I want to talk. Just listen more, listen in general to your partners, to your family members, to your employees. Just listen that a lot of the answers are there with your people. When you listen, you learn.
Absolutely. I could share a ton of stories about how I'm a recovering not listener. I was really bad at listening. I won't go into it now just based on time, but
hi, I'm Taylor.
I'm a recovering not listener. I'm recovering from a lot of different things, but if you guys have any ideas or best practices that you've used on your teams, with your family, with your friends on how to effectively communicate better, we want to know about it. So let us know in the comments below. Again, if you haven't subscribed yet already and you like the content that you're seeing here, please hit the subscribe button.
Yes, and we will see you next week, leaders. Bye.